Okay, let me first check my mirroring. This one is all right. So let's just try to review our, yes, most of you, of course, especially the first two problems, you were able to get it. That's really very easy. Trying to evaluate the expression for a certain value of your x, which we will be doing a lot more in our discussion on equations and many other things. So, well, most of you got the answers correctly, definitely. And just for the sake of uh, reminding us of how this is done. Let me just, okay, yes, right. So all of you got the answer to be -2. And of course, it's just a matter of, yeah, putting in the value of x minus 12, of course, gives us 2 times my, yeah. Just for a while. Okay. My mirroring seems not to mm, mm, it is failing me. Okay. I don't know. Hmm, what's happening here? Okay, let me just first restart. Okay. My iPad is not responding. Okay. Anyway, so you were able to answer the question there correctly. The answer is, of course, -2. So similarly with number 2, you did well. You had just -1, -2, except that I think a few seem to have a little problem with -1, -2. Take note that both are negatives. You will have to add, and -1, -2 is -3, and when you square, that's +9. Of course, -16 gives you -7. Now for number 3, you yeah, you have to subtract the exponents. Definitely add the exponents in a way, but it will be subtracting because it's 5 minus 3, 3 to the fourth. But you failed. Some of you just answered 3 to the fourth without writing the exact value of, okay, of 3 to the fourth. Right. So that should have been 81. So that the final answer should be 81. Now, number 4. What happened? Yeah, for number 4, that's 2 to the 6. And you multiply that by 2 to the -3 squared. And -3 squared, when you say 2 to the -3 squared, I think you learned that that is now the power rule, where you multiply 2 times -3 is -6. And so you'll now have 2 to the 6 times 2 to the -6. And in that situation, you know that that one is 2 to the 6 times 2 to the -6 will give you 2 to the 0, which will now be equal to 1. Okay. Let me see. Now I think I am now. Yeah, let me just okay. So your final answer there should be equal to +1, right? 2 to the 6 times 2 to the -6 gives you 2 to the 0, which is equal to 2, or 2 to the 0, which is equal to 1. Now it seems that the problem seems to lie on the negative exponents. And that's where, I, of course, just deducted a few points, if ever you really did not have the correct answer there. But maybe the best way to do whenever you do negative exponents, you remember that we say x to the -1 is 1 over x. So my suggestion here, so that, you know, the easiest way, of course, the way that you did was you my yeah. So you used first the power, okay, and in many cases you had it as 2. You said 2 to the negative 2, which is correct. X to the negative 4 over y to the negative 2. Yes, which is fine because you're substituting. My writing is just you're multiplying each of the elements in each of the elements in our term uh by its power of negative 2. But it gets a little confusing there because after that, you have forgotten to put 2 to the negative 2 at the bottom. So this one would mean that your y to the negative 2 should go up because that's a negative 2. And your 2 to the negative 2 should go down. And that your x to the negative 4 should go down, something like that. So that it will now become y squared over 4x to the 4th. Another way of doing that is whenever you have a negative exponent, you just immediately invert so that you change your negative 2 to positive. So it becomes y over 2x squared and raise that to the positive 2 power. That's one way. That's the easiest way. So you get the reciprocal. So put the bottom up and the top go to the bottom and change your exponent to positive. So that your answer will now just be y squared over 2 squared x squared squared, which is 4x to the 4th. Let me make that clearer so that okay, let me just do that again. Yes. So when you have that kind of problem, what you do is you just immediately y over 2x squared and raise it to squared to change that negative 2 to positive 2. So it's interchanging the position, because if we say that if x to the negative 1 is 1 over x, that means that whenever the exponent is negative and it's in the it's on top, put it down. So that if I have 1 over x to the negative 1, that should be x. Put it up. You get it?
So
Yeah.
So you're saying if you like switch the fraction, the exponent becomes positive.
Yes. Yes. So it's actually following the rule. X to the negative 1 is 1 over x. 1 over x to the negative 1 is equal to x. So switch the position to make the exponent positive. So that 2x squared over y raised to the negative 2 is the same as y over 2x squared. And now the power becomes positive 2.
And it works even when the exponent is on the outside of the parentheses.
Yes, whether it's outside or inside, as long as whenever the exponent is negative, always switch the position. All right.
So
For
this one, you switch it to y 2x negative 2 to the exponent of 2 or squared.
No, it's only this negative 2 that will be changed to positive 2, okay?
Okay.
Because that is the one that has a negative exponent, you know. So I'm now switching. I put my y up, I put my 2, because it's the whole thing that we are raising to a negative 2. So we want to change that exponent to positive. And doing that is switching the position. Because you see, to begin with, all right, if you remember, it should have been like this. 2 to the negative 2, if we use the power rule, x to the negative 4 over y to the negative 2, right? just using the power rule, distributing the -2. Y, this one is y to the -2. Now, the problem there when you did it is that you forgot that 2 has a power of -2. So actually, if you, yeah, that was still okay, as long as what you have done could have y to the y squared now and switch the position. This will now become 2 squared x to the 4th. So it's just the same as this, as the y over 2x squared raised to the power 2. So then that will, you'll get the same answer anyway. So 2 squared x to the 4th is 4x to the 4th, and then you have a y squared. So if in
Okay.
some cases you've forgotten to put down the 2 to the -2. So some of you had an answer 4y squared over x to the 4th, something like that. So the best way is when the exponent is negative, switch the position of the numerator and the denominator. So maybe we look at that on, especially on number 7. There were also not very many got that answer correctly. All right. So number 6, that's just, of course, easy. Then doing, of course, some constellations kind of things. I think you know that, yeah, it's just x to the 4th, y to the 4th over y cubed times 2 over x to the 5th. And it's just a matter of multiplying. All right. So if ever you just want to do it step by step, that is still fine. But some of you just immediately did the cancellation over x. I just put x first to the 5th y cubed. So then you have to cancel. You have an x to the 4th and x to the 5th. You have y to the 4th and y cubed. So you got your answer to x to the 4th divided by x to the 5th. There will be x at the bottom. Y to the 4th, y cubed. The y is up there. So it's 2y over x. So that's the final answer, 2y over x. Yes, I think that's just easy. For some, you just did cancellation there. That there will be now an x here. This and this, there will be a y there. I'm sorry. And y should be y times 2 is okay. So I think many of you did that correctly. This is good. Yeah. All right. Now let's have the one. Let's now have this number 7. Oh, do you have a question, number 6? It's okay. All right. So number 7. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
I didn't quite follow as you did it.
Number 6. Number 6.
Yeah, number 6.
All
So
right.
you said you have 4y4 over y3.
Okay. X to the 4th, y to the 4th, because you're using the power rule, right? So xy to the 4th is x to the 4th, y to the 4th over y cubed times 2 over x to the 5th. But then we said that one is multiplication. So actually you can just put them together. So if you want to do it direct, you just say x to the 4th, x to the 5th. This is 4 and a 5. The one with a 5 is at the bottom. So that will now be, if you cancel, that will be x. For the y to the 4th and y cubed, your y to the 4th minus 3 is a y, and that's on top. So it will now be 2y over x, right? So you're canceling. So, or just to put that in perspective here, you actually could have written that as x2, if you want to do it step by step, y to the 4th over x to the 5th, y cubed. All right, so it's actually saying 2x to the 4 minus 5 times y to the 4 minus 3, because you are subtracting exponents, right? So now 2x to the 4th minus 5, that's x to the -1. So it will now be, okay, so just to remember, that's x to the -1, y to the first power. But x to the -1 goes down. So therefore, your final answer is 2y over x. So if you do want to do that
Okay.
step by step, but some of you want some mental math, so it's okay. So you can just immediately just do the cancellation. And your answer will be 2y over x.
Multiplication.
Okay. I got it. Thank you.
Got it. Yes.
Like inverse that.
All right. Now let's have this number
Me
7.
too.
Yep, I got it totally off.
Yes. That one now was a negative, okay?
I see that now.
Yeah.
So
You
bad.
can immediately do the switching if you wish to, but you can also do the, looking at all the
Derivative.
powers. Yes.
Oh, what answer did you
Oh,
get?
so how is that? So 16a cubed over b squared times 4ab raised to the negative 1 raised to the negative 2.
Okay. Now let's see. How do you do this?
That would be 4ab squared, basically, right?
Okay, now, it just so happened that for most of you, you had 4ab squared. You just multiplied negative 1 times negative 2 to be positive 2. But take note that that negative 2 is the power of all of the elements in that 4ab to the negative 1. Yeah, so that was the confusion. So when you change 4ab to the negative 1, negative 2, for many of you, you did this, 4ab squared. Forgetting that the negative 2 is also a power of 4 and also a power of a. Yeah, so maybe you can distribute. What you can do is, say 16a cubed over b squared times 4 to the negative 2 a to the negative 2 b squared. That is now the removing that negative 2 outside there. You distribute your negative 2 to each of the elements for ab to the negative 1. And then you put it down
Below.
already. Okay? So you'll now have 16a cubed b squared because that's the, okay, and then at the bottom you now have, you put down the 4 to the negative 2, that will be 4 squared. Put down your a to the negative 2, that will now be a squared, but there's a b squared at the bottom.
You
And
leave it at
4
the top?
squared is 16. So you now have 16a cubed b squared over 16 a squared b squared.
Everything cancels except a.
Yes, 16
Yeah.
and 16 will cancel, b squared and b squared will cancel. A cubed divided by a squared will now be equal to a. So that will be your
Nice, we got
final answer.
So how is A?
Yeah, because what remains after cancellation is a cubed and a squared. And so now you divide, you
Yeah.
subtract exponents.
Let's say 1 6 A.
The final
Maybe
answer
mark.
is a.
What she did. Because she didn't mark. When you do like this, you don't know whether this. Let me see.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes. At least
All
for
right.
me.
Okay, I think that's the one that seems to have, you did not do well. Well, number 8, that's okay. Or you got that almost. All right. Then number 9, no problem. Well, for number 10, it's just a matter of substituting. Okay.
Can I ask?
Yeah, sure.
I did it in a different way. I didn't do all the steps
but I figured out it's gonna cancel.
Which one?
The number 7, I got A. Just that you didn't mark, I didn't see correct, so I'm not sure whether I did it and I got A.
Mhm.
I simply, I ended up on the first step and then
It's
I
okay.
figured out.
You really don't need to follow all the steps. As long as I see that you have done the process correctly.
Okay.
Yeah. So me, I am not into, I look at different people may have different ways of doing as long as you're following the rules. So it's not a problem.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you got, I think you got it, Sneh. Yeah, no problem.
I think I got it right.
Yeah, I am not much into the all the steps going because some, as I was saying, some of you are doing some mental math, and I can sense that. So it's okay, no problem. All right, so for number 10, number 8 and 9, no problem there. For number 10, I think you are fine, but some may have forgotten what to do. But it's just a matter of substituting your A and B. So your A is 6.
It's really good.
Your B is 8.
No,
Mm.
you're saying.
So you have 36 plus 64. Now, this is the one that sometimes you get confused. When you have 36 plus 64, you immediately get the square root of 36 and square root of 64. So I keep saying, even in your homework, there is no kind of rule like that for addition or subtraction. That one is only done for, the power rule is only done, that's direct when you're using multiplication, something like that, or division. So here you'll have to add 36 plus 64 so that you get 100, and that's the time you extract the root. So do not extract the root by installment, all right? For addition or subtraction, you have to perform the one there under the radical sign before extracting the root. I think, yeah, you did okay. I think majority did that correctly. This one, all right. So this, many of you had,
And see,
some of you did
like,
3 over 4x, forgetting that x is under the square root sign. So actually,
I forgot.
this one should just be the square root of 9 is 3. The square root of 16 is 4. But the square root of x, that's not a perfect square, so it remains under the square root sign.
And it's on the top of the fraction, right?
Yes, it's on top of the fraction. Or you can just write that as 3, the square root of x over 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you can have it as the 3 over 4 as a coefficient and do like that. That can also be done. So any of this will do.
right.
Okay.
Got it.
Now for number
Okay.
12, yeah, some of you did the, yeah, like, you know that you will have to, the 24, you will make it as 4 times 6, right? Plus 7, then 54 is 9 times 6. And 12, the square root of 6. So now, so some of you did that to begin with, but I don't know the multiplication. So you get the square root of 4, and that will now be 2. Okay, so that will be 12, the square root of 6. The square root of 9 is 3. Okay, of 2. Okay, is that 6? All right. The square root of 9 is 3. So you multiply that now by 6 times, 3 times 2 is 6. The square root of, 3 times 2, I'm sorry. 3 times 7 is 21. I am looking at 6. Okay, let me erase. This one is 21. Okay. All right, so that will now be plus 21, because 3 times 7 is 21, the square root of 6. All right, minus 12, the square root of 6. Because the square root of 6, they cannot anymore get any factors that one is a perfect square. So 12 minus 12 is 0. The remaining, the final answer is 21, the square root of 6. Yeah, I think some of you started correctly, but the one multiplying by the getting the square root and multiplying by the value outside of the square root sign, you got a little problem there. But I am happy that most of you had started correctly, where you did 24, change it to 4 times 6, and 54, change it to 9 times 6. My point there is 9, is times 9. So your answer is 21 over square root of 6. All right, for number 13, that's another thing. You know that 49 is a perfect square. That's not a problem. But 450, how do you, what are the factors of 450 such that one is a perfect square?
9 times 50.
But with 50, you still can get another perfect square, which is 25, right? 50 is also 25 times 2. So you can have actually 9. Yeah, that's okay. But your square root of 50 can also be 25 times 2. So actually, 450 will be the same as 225 times 2, correct? Because 225 is a perfect square.
Oh,
I struggle finding square.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why I
Okay.
gave you those lists so that if you can remember. Because 15 times 15 is 225.
225.
Yeah, all right. So the 49 is a perfect square. That will now be 7. Extracting. 225
the
is 15 if we extract the root. What remains inside is 1/2. But the square root of 1 is 1. All right. So actually, that is something like 7 over 15, the square root of 2. But we don't want that there is radical in the denominator. So we multiply by the radical itself. Square root of 2 over square root of 2. So your final answer is 7. The square root of 2, 15 times 2. Because square root of 2 times square root of 2 is 2. And this will now be 30. So that's the final answer. 7, the square root of 2 over 30.
Square root of 2 times square root of 2 is 2.
But don't again cancel 2 and 30. The square root. Yeah, 2 is under the square root sign. So
I don't know.
No,
is
square
that
root of 2 times 2
what? Oh, please ask the question. What's any?
Oh, I was asking about the square root of 2 as to how did the 2 come about?
Yeah, when you multiply 15 square root of 2 times square root of 2. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 is 2, right?
and it just eliminates the square root sign, right?
Yes,
Basically.
to eliminate the square root sign, you multiply by itself. Because square root of 2 times square root of 2 is square root of 4. And square root of 4 is 2.
My question is, where did we get the square root of half?
Oh, yeah. 49 over 225. Let me put the laser pointer. 49 over 225 times 2. That because 450 is 225 times 2, correct?
Yeah.
Then I extracted the root of 49. That's 7. I extracted the root of 225. That's 15. What remains
Oh, yes.
inside is 1 over 2. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
All right.
just clicked now.
Yeah, it's good to ask. Is that okay now?
Yeah.
It's not gonna
I thought 450 itself is a perfect square.
Oh, so the 49, I took that out. 49 is 7. 225 is 15. And so there's a 2 at the bottom. definitely there's a 1. Another way of doing is, of course, just to make sure that you are, yes, you can, supposed to be that. All right, let me erase some of the things here.
Okay.
Yes, yes. Erase. That's a problem. I wish. So it's very challenging, really. Even when I prepare the what's that? My class, it takes so long because I am typing and everything. But that's how it is with. Okay. So the square root of 49 over 225 times 2 is the same as, you can write it as, you can separate 49 over 225
Wow.
times the square root of 1 over 2. Supposed to be those two are the same. Okay, I remade that plus 1. You might get confused.
Sorry.
My eraser is not doing well. All right. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So is that okay now?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Yeah, it's good to be clear about it. All right. So then let's proceed. Okay, this one, simplifying the radical. 1 to 1 is a perfect square.
Yes.
B
11.
squared is a
11.
perfect square. So you immediately can change that to be 11b over the 1 plus the square root of b. Okay? To begin with. But we don't want the radical to be in the denominator. And so you remember the conjugate? You multiply this by 1 minus the square root of b over 1 minus the square root of b. So we are multiplying the top and the bottom. Okay. my, all right.
Can I ask,
Yes?
like, number 13?
Aha. Oh, number
So
13. Okay, let me go back to that. Let me just erase this one, then we'll go back. All right. Number 13, yes.
it was so hard to get a perfect number, to deal with the 450. So I came up with 25 because 25 is also a root. I mean, a square root of
Yes,
5.
yes.
So I did with 25 and 18.
Yeah, I did that.
But there is a root
I-
of 18 is 9 times 2,
Oh, yes. You have to find the
right?
biggest one.
18, there's still a perfect square in 18.
Oh,
Because
you still have
9
to
is a
send.
perfect square. I think that's where because you got 18 rather than, but you did not completely factor out the one with a square.
Oh,
I did 9.
So you
Oh,
see,
you can
the
still.
square root of 9 is 3. 3 times 5 is 15. So you remained
Uh-huh.
18 at there and you just got, so the final answer is not the simple one. Is that
Oh, the
okay?
simplest that. Oh, I understand.
All right.
Mhm.
That's great. Okay. So let us go back to this. So we now have 121 is 11. Okay.
Mm.
And then b
Mhm.
squared is b, and then you now have 1 plus the square root of b. And so we multiply by the conjugate 1 minus the square root of b over 1 minus the square root of b.
I said 1 plus. Why am I crazy?
Yes, it should be the other opposite, the opposite sign, which we have seen in
Yeah.
our factoring the other time. You remember that if you have difference of two squares, then you'll have positive and then a negative. Yes. All right. So you just have 11b, multiply that by 1 minus the square root of b over 1 times 1 is 1, square root of b times square root of b is
B. Yeah.
It's B.
But I think some of you use a plus instead of a minus.
Oh,
Yes,
Okay.
is that great?
Mm.
Okay.
is that the final answer?
Mm-hmm. No.
Yeah, and then the last two, it's just writing as a radical. But the problem there is like, you now have 5x to the 3/4. It is only x that has a power of 3/4, not the 5. This is not the same as 5x to the 3/4.
Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
Is that and 11b 1 minus root 6 over 1?
That's a b. That's a b. Over 1 minus b.
Yeah. I mean,
That's the final answer?
Yeah.
is that the
Yes,
final answer?
some of you
Oh.
did, okay, just for some of you did the 11b minus 11b the square root of b, that is just the same, so no problem. So it's not, but for me, it's better that way. You like already factor the 11b because you can also have that as 11b minus 11b the square root of b over 1 minus b. They are just the same. If you distribute your 11b to 1 minus the square root of b. But I think a better answer is that one, 11b times, because you are now, especially when we dealt with factoring, we want to factor out the greatest common factor, something like that. So leave it as 11b times 1 minus the square root of b over 1 minus b. All right?
Okay.
Okay, so as I was saying, the 5x to the 3/4 is not the same as the 5x quantity 3/4. They are not the same. So supposed to be your final answer, there is just 5 times the 4th root of x cubed. That 5 should not be under the radical sign. And the last one, because the 17 and 18, you know already where to get the answer, and you have visualized that, but you didn't just have time. So that's just fine. Those were bonus questions anyway. So just the same for number 16, x is outside the radical. But 4y is included in the 7. So some of you just put the 7/3 on the y, but it should have been written as x times 4y to the 7/3. So I think a few people that 4y to the 7/3. That's not the same, okay? Yeah, because here is only the y that has the exponent, but the 4 was not included. So make sure that, so some of you that 4xy to the 7/3, that's wrong. Because it should be x times 4y raised to the 7/3. Just writing rational exponents. You're okay? Yeah, so please let's just be reminded of some of those rules because those will keep repeating whenever we proceed with the rest of our lesson in this class. So this is now the final answer. X times 4y quantity raised to the 7/3.
So the 4 is
Included.
okay.
Because I had that 4y, the whole 4y as raised to the 7th. This
Oh,
one,
it's a
yeah?
whole. You don't.
This one. Well, you don't need to separate them anyway. Some of you, that's still okay. If you used your answer, you wrote your answer as x times 4 to the 7/3, y to the 7/3, that is still okay. They are still, they're just fine.
Oh.
Yeah. So you can write it that way if you wish to. Let me erase. So they are the same. So I won't mind if that was the answer. So some of you had it as x 4 to the 7/3, y to the 7/3. That's still okay. Fine? They are the same. All right. So yeah, then number 17, 18, you know now what would it be. Let's just review a little bit of factoring, then let's proceed to the last type of factoring so that we can move on to rational expressions, because even in rational expressions, we will make use of our understanding of factoring. Especially in doing some divisions, because rational means you have a fraction. So let's just review our factoring. You remember the ones that we learned. Factoring GCF, if you have a trinomial with the leading coefficient 1, if you have a perfect square trinomial, if you have a difference of squares, if you have the difference or sum of cubes. All right. So for the first problem there, just for our reminder to remember what we have learned last meeting and even the previous to that with factoring GCF. So I have minus 72x squared y plus 24xy plus 48xy squared. So then at looking at this, I can just factor the greatest common factor. So I have now 72, 24, 48. What's the common factor?
24.
24. Yeah, because 72 can be divided by 24, 48 can also be divided by 24. So yeah, all right. And then x squared y, xy, 48, xy squared. So you can put 24 xy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then minus.
All right.
Don't
Yeah,
we
you
need
can
to
have
do that?
minus outside. We'll see whichever we can. Let's begin with just 24xy, all right? And then let's arrange. Okay. So 72 divided by 24 is negative 3, right?
Negative
X.
3x.
And then plus 1, right? Because 24xy, 24xy. And then plus that's the reason why I didn't want to put a minus outside there, so that you don't get confused. And then 48 xy
2y.
squared. It will now be 2y. All right. And you can rearrange if you wish to. So you can just have as 24xy. I think you can begin with a 2y minus 3x plus 1, all right? Or 1 minus 3x plus 2y, it doesn't matter, okay? Yeah. So that can already be the answer, 24xy minus 3x plus 1 plus 2y. But if you want to begin with a positive sign, and then you want to put the constant at the end, then you can just say 2y minus 3x plus 1. Okay, anyway, they are commutative. Otherwise, if you want a minus outside, that will also be okay. You can have 24xy, and then you now have 3x minus 1 minus 2y. They are just the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So any of those will do. It doesn't matter. As long as when you multiply again, you'll get the answer, which is the original problem.
Mm-hmm.
So any of those will do. All right. I think that, yeah, we're just trying to remember what we have learned previously. Okay, for the next, can I erase now all the ink on my slides? All right, or maybe just this one, so that. All right. Look at x squared minus 3x minus 40. What kind? That is now a trinomial with leading coefficient 1. Because that is not a perfect square trinomial anyway. So, how do we factor x squared minus 3x minus 40? I think we
Identity use that.
mentioned, yes, we mentioned that immediately you put x.
Oh,
right?
Yes, teacher.
And then, you know that one is a plus, the other is a minus because of minus 40. All right. So you immediately put plus, minus. Then, we think of factors of negative 40 such that when we add them, it will be minus 3x.
Minus.
So we know it will be 8 and 5, right? So which
Plus
one will carry a negative sign?
8.
8.
Yes, so this will be na minus 8. So you put the 5 here, you put the 8 here. There. Yeah, so that will be this one, all this factoring will be our homework for today, okay? I mean, the one that we will work on. All right. Okay, now, so I think that's not a problem. That one is when you have a trinomial with the leading coefficient equal to 1. Now, this one, 81x squared minus 36xy plus 4y squared. Then you ask yourself, is the first term a perfect square?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a perfect square. And what is the square root? 9x, right?
9.
The square root of 81x squared is 9x. Is the last term a perfect square?
Yes.
Yes. That now the square root of 4y squared is 4y. Look at the middle term. Is the middle
it's 2.
term twice the product of the first and the second square root of the first and the second? Yeah. Because 9 times... Oh, this one is 2y. Sorry for that. That's 2y. Okay. Yeah. 2y. 9 times 9x times 2y is 18xy. If we multiply that by 2 is 36xy, right? Which is your
Yes.
midterm. So therefore, we call this as a perfect square trinomial. And what will be our factors? Yeah, just extract the root of the first, extract the root
Yeah.
of the second, follow the sign of the middle term, and we square. Remember?
Uh-huh.
Yes. Right. Alright. So whenever you see a trinomial and look first whether it's a perfect straight trinomial. If not, and the leading coefficient is 1, then you can just proceed with just factoring by looking at the factors of the last term, and then the sum of the factors will be the middle term. Okay. Yes. All right. Look at the 36x squared minus 121y to the fourth. You ask yourself, is the first term square?
Yes.
Second term, is it also a perfect square?
Yes.
Yes, and therefore we call this difference of squares. And I think you know what to do. Extract the root of the first term. Extract the root of the second term. Put a plus 1, repeat it, and the other one will have a minus. There. So difference of two squares. Okay, and then that last problem there, as per our review, it seems that
It is the same.
that's considered a sum of two cubes, right? Yeah. Because 125x cube is a cube. What's the cube root of 125?
5.
5.
Five.
Cube root of x cube is x, all right? And then, because that's a plus, you put a plus. Cube root of 27,
3.
3. Cube root of y to the 6.
Y squared.
All right, just divide the exponent by 3. And then, the next factor will be square of the first term. That will now be 25x squared. If the middle term is a plus, this should be a minus. Then multiply 5x times 3y squared gives you 15x y squared. Then this one will always be a plus, the last term, square the second term. All right. So if it is a difference, then that's the same process. The only difference is that your middle term of the second factor will be a plus. It will be the opposite of the middle term of the sign of the middle term of the first factor. Yes. All right. So I think that was discussed in the last lesson we had the last time. Okay. All right. So we're just reviewing. We need to remember all this. These are special factoring, especially your perfect square trinomial, your difference of squares, and difference or sum of cubes. So the last type of factoring, we will consider factoring by grouping. All right. This one now. Okay, so if there is there any question on those other types of grouping? Oh, factoring, I should say. No problem. So let's now deal with this last factoring procedure. This is now a trinomial. That is not a perfect square trinomial, and the leading coefficient is not 1. All right? So when your leading coefficient, there is a coefficient, of the x squared has a coefficient which is not 1. Then we will use this process of factoring. So let me give that example of 5x squared plus 7x minus 6. All right. The first thing, find the product of A and C. So in that 5x squared plus 7x plus minus 6, let me use my laser pointer. My A is 5 and my C is negative 6. All right? So the first thing we have to do is get the product of that. So that will be 5 times negative 6 is negative 30. Okay. Then find a pair of factors such that the sum of the two factors of negative 30 is the middle term, which is your B. So I already wrote the answers here. We will have some exercises later on. So 30, there are several factors. Okay, 6 times 5, 30 times 1, 10 times 3. But you'll have to choose those two values such that when you add them, you'll get 7. And so you now have 10 and minus 3. Okay, well, I can put a P as -3 and a Q as +10. It doesn't matter. We will show that later on. So I just have 10 and -3 because 10 minus 3 is 7. All right. Then we rewrite the original expression now. You separate. In other words, instead of 7x, I will put it as 10x minus 3x. All right? Because this is just the same. It's now 5x squared plus 7x minus 6 because 10x minus 3x is 7x. Then we get, all right, so later on you will just realize that one is, so this one is really, previously I would not even have this kind of thing. I will just ask the students, what are the factors of 5, what are the factors of 6, and then do some trial and error. But this one is a very good way of doing the factoring. What we need to do is, let's have the first ax squared plus px, which is 5x squared plus 10x. 5x squared plus 10x, there's a common factor, all right? Which is 5x. So if I take out 5x as the common factor, what remains here is x plus 2. Then, I group the other side, the qx plus c, all right, which is minus 3x minus 6. Now, I factor out minus 3. And it will now be, what will remain will be minus 3x minus 3 is x, divided by 3 is x, minus 6 divided by minus 3 is 2. You notice that we have now a common factor for the ax squared plus px plus qx plus c, which is x plus 2. Then, we factor out the GCF of that expression. In other words, I put this together. 5x plus times x plus 2 minus 3 times x plus 2. So you notice that common factor is x plus 2. If I factor that out, I will now have 5x minus 3. So our factors for 5x squared plus 7x minus 6 will now be x plus 2, 5x minus 3. Now, I was telling you a while ago, it doesn't matter if you will put your P as -3 and your Q as 10. That doesn't matter. Because in the end, you will still get the same answer. All right. So if that is the case, I can now have 5x squared minus 3x plus 10x minus 6. All right? Then I can combine the 5x squared minus 3x. So 5x squared minus 3x, okay, plus, all right, let's separate, 10x minus 6. All right. Then I factor out x here. Common between 5x squared minus 3x is x. And so I will now get 5x minus 3. Common at 10x minus 6 is 2. And that will now be 5x minus 3. Okay. So now 5x minus 3 is common. Then what remains is x plus 2. And the fact that they are commutative, x plus 2 times 5x minus 3 is the same as 5x minus 3, x plus 2. So, it doesn't matter whatever you would put as a P or a Q, you will get the same factors of your trinomial. All right. So maybe it will become clearer as I give more examples here. So let's see what we can do. All right, let's proceed here. Okay. It's not necessary really to pull out. We can do that directly already. All right. So let's do letter A for this factoring here. I now have 2x squared plus 9x plus 9. What is AC? Yeah, you can join me first and then I'll ask you to work on the other ones. What is AC?
18.
All right. So you now have 2 times 9 is equal to 18. What are the two factors of 18 with a sum?
Plus 6 plus 3.
All right, with a sum of 9. Okay? Oh, everybody agrees? So this is now 6 and 3. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 plus 3 is 9. Then you can now write it as 2x squared plus 6x plus 3x plus 9. Yeah, there's the same. It's now 2x squared plus 9x plus 9, right? Okay. Then just immediately you group this and group this one. What's common between 2x squared plus 6x? 2x.
2x.
All right. Then I will now have x
X
as
is 3.
3. Common for 3x and 9 is 3.
3.
I will now have x plus 3. Then factor out. X plus 3 times 2x plus 3.
That's a lot of steps.
Very good.
Wait, the first one was minus, right? Okay.
Very good. Now you can change, you can check, you can do FOIL in order for you to check whether your final answer will go back to your original trinomial. So you can say x times 2x is 2x squared, 3x plus 6x is 9x, 3 times 3 is 9, and we're there. We're okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Will you please try number 6? I think that one is an easy one. Number 6.
Number
Six.
6.
No, I think it's B.
Oh, yeah, B.
Looks like a 6.
Yeah.
Letter B. 6x squared minus 5x plus 1. See if you can factor.
And,
And
1.
4.
Let me erase. Okay, so that you are able to see the. So 4 and 5, you can just go direct. It's not necessary to do. Yeah, it's actually pulling out, pulling out. Mhm. Is Rachel in?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm just trying to look. I'm not seeing some.
Rewriting it with the. We just took this lesson. I'm just kind of
I said okay. Answer.
Is it one?
I got something, but I don't know if it's correct.
Oh, just say it.
3x minus 1, 2x minus 1.
All right. Yes. Yeah. Because you know that the sign of the middle is negative. The sign of the last term is positive. So you know that your two values will be negative because negative times negative is positive. All right. So AC is 6.
I got lost somewhere in my
Got it?
reasoning.
So AC is 6. So the pairs will be minus 3 and minus 2 and minus 3. It's just the same. It doesn't matter. Or minus 3 minus 2. Yeah? Okay. Sorry, what happened? Where did I go? All right. Sorry. Okay, so 6 minus 3 minus 2. It's fine, no problem. Or minus 2 minus 3. Okay, so you now change it to 6x squared minus 3x minus 2x plus 1. So if you put minus 2x minus 3x, it's still okay. No problem. Right? And then common. So common of the 6x squared minus 3x is 3x. So you get 2x minus 1. All right. And then you now have minus 2x plus 1. You can take out minus there. That will be actually minus 2x minus 1. Is that okay? You factor out a minus 1, which is the common factor of 2 and 1. Okay. Because you want to make sure that one of the factors will be common after doing the grouping. Yeah, so you have a 2x minus 1 as one of the factors. Make sure that the other one will also have a factor of 2x minus 1. So in that situation, you now have a 2x minus 1 as one of the factors, so that the other one will be 3x minus 1. We know that the coefficient of the other 2x minus 1 is a 1. So if you interchange the position, then you can have 3x minus 1 times 2x minus 1, which is just the same. We're good? Try letter C.
I solved letter C.
Already, okay. Yes. What's your answer?
3y plus 1
Mm-hmm.
and
Times?
y minus 3
Good. All right.
times y.
Y minus 3. Just correct. All right. Just proceed. Okay. Try number letter D. Then I will be dealing with the letter C in a little while.
Oh, we all do letter D.
Okay,
So
then
he
solve
is
D.
saying that so try if you got also the same answer, 3y plus 1, y minus 3.
You using this method?
If you don't practice this, it will go out of there.
You use this method?
Yeah.
Maybe I should use it. Normally, I just look at the factors and like, okay, obviously, in your
You have to like memorize 3 steps. But if you don't memorize, if you don't practice, tomorrow you're gonna forget.
for me, I used to do. I just look at the y, 3y.
Oh yeah.
Now
okay.
using-
Yes. So,
No, I mean, like, obviously,
Don't
my,
argue, you are smart.
no, I don't
For
know.
some of
I
you,
don't
if you're really you're familiar with this, you don't even need to do this thing of grouping. You know, me, I just look at it and I would say, oh, the factors of 3y are 3y and y. The factors of
Yeah.
3 would be 1 and 3. And then I just put them and then check. But the grouping here is very, very systematic.
if you keep doing it a lot, you'll get like,
Actually, you
really
can
good
do
at
it by mental math without putting in those pair of factors. When I was
You'll do
teaching
it.
this long time ago, some 30, 40 years ago, I would just tell my students, okay, look at the factors of 3y squared. Look at the factors of 3 and then do some trial and error. Where do you put the, but it takes some time, it takes so long. So this one is a much better procedure because it's more systematic.
You multiply.
For me, I know like that, but the problem I have is just the signs. I just figure out the signs.
Yeah,
only.
you'll have to figure
Cause-
out the signs.
The first one is just obvious, it's just for you to look at the factors.
Especially with something like a 3y squared minus 8y minus 3, where you don't have any other factors except a 3 and a 1. Now, the problem is when
Exactly.
there are many, many factors, then you just get confused. Which one to put, all right, what pairs and those kinds of things, yeah. But as I was saying, you don't need to do this procedure if immediately you're able to visualize what are the factors of the first term, what are the factors of the second term, such that when you multiply the outer and inner, you will get the middle term. So I am not very, as a teacher, I know students can have their own way as long as you're doing it using the correct rules and that you get the correct answer.
Yeah, the D has a X, right?
All
Should
right.
I?
Now, the first thing you ask yourself is, in letter D, should you do something else first before moving on to factoring? Is
Because
there
the
a
last number
common factor? So here is a combination of factoring out
Yeah.
the GCF and then before
Mhm.
proceeding.
Mm,
Okay. Is everyone okay with letter C?
I haven't looked at it.
Okay. Let's work on that so that we can.
are you on C?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm on D.
Oh wow. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
I didn't do C because I thought she said we were gonna do D and then we would go back to
No,
C,
because
but I didn't
this person did C and it's like, I'm done with C. So I
Oh,
go
so
like,
you do
go
listen to us.
D. I
A,
always
B, C,
listen.
D.
Yeah, the multitasker.
Duh.
Are you thinking about lunch in your head?
Okay,
No.
let me learn this one.
I'm
Okay.
thinking of like,
I'm trying to.
3 jobs in one go.
I'm not able to see my. Okay, here. All right. Let me erase all ink on the slide so that we can work on it. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So for letter C, yes. So AC is negative
minus
9,
9.
right?
Negative 9.
Then what are the factors? What are the two pair? What is the pair of factors of negative 9 such that the sum is minus 8y?
This is the hardest. It's finding out the two
So you
numbers.
know that it will be a minus 9 and a 1, right?
If you multiply,
Yeah, it's 9 and 1.
will be AC's product, but if you add, will be the second term.
Because
Oh.
now minus 9 plus 1 is minus 8.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, and then you can now just put 3y squared minus 9y plus y minus 3. So you just, have the y. Yeah, I'm using y instead of x. So, all right. And then, there. You now have 3y is common. Y minus 3 plus y minus 3. Y minus 3 is common. 3y plus 1. Or if you made you did a little different, you made 3y squared plus y minus 9y minus 3, it's the same. You still get the correct answer, but your position is 3y plus 1, y minus 3. So it doesn't matter. Any question on
So
that
with the-
before we move on to the next?
We'll move on.
Oh,
For
so
me, it's
everyone,
three.
how is it?
Oh, no,
What?
just that I put 3y in the, like 3y plus 1, then y minus.
Yes,
Mhm,
that
that's
can be
right.
done if you want to. You can even just have, okay, so instead of 3, you now have 3y squared plus y minus 9y minus 3. It's the same.
Yeah.
She's-
No, for me,
She's doing a bit of mental math.
But you can do mental
So-
math. So me, I am very flexible.
Yeah.
I just
Well,
took a
I
photo.
respect your decision.
Because me, I am in many cases, I also just do a little mental math for the 6x squared minus 5x plus 1 and so on. But if you want it that you're sure of your signs and those kinds of things, then this one is the best systematic one.
Yeah, you took a common factor as well.
So if this
You
is
just-
what you have written, then you just have y is a common factor, then you'll have y, 3y plus 1. And then minus 3 is a common factor, then you'll have y minus 3 is there, and then 3y plus 1. And then you'll now have 3y plus 1 times y minus 3. Okay. Oh, how is letter D?
Yeah.
It's
Can I erase
equally
now all the
10.
ink on the slide so that we can do letter D? Okay.
Yeah.
X, and then we have
All right. What's now looking at it, this already X cubed. So, ay, that one is not anymore, it's not applicable. No, it is. You think of the other factoring we had in the past. And here, you look, you ask yourself, is there a common factor which is the greatest in 10x cubed, 18x squared, and 8x? What's common?
X,
2x.
Huh?
2x.
10, 88. That's 2x, correct? And so what remains inside is 5x squared minus 9x plus 4.
4.
Yes.
So then I just
Now, the
work
5x squared minus 9x plus 4, factor it out. So there's another
just work-
factor 2x, and then there will be 2 factors for 5x squared minus x squared minus 9x plus 4. This is not looking 5. Okay, let me erase and make it nice. My writing is not perfect.
5x minus 4x
This is
plus
5x
1.
squared, okay? 5x squared. All right. So what are now the factors of those?
5x minus 4x plus 1.
No, you should have 2 factors. Oh, so
It's
you can follow
five-
your find AC. 5 times 4 is 20. What are the factors of 20? Such that when you add, will give you minus 9x.
Oh,
yeah.
x 5x
10 and
plus 1.
2.
Huh? Okay. What? Factors of 20. Such that when you add the 2 will give you minus 9.
Negative 5 and
minus
negative
5.
4.
Yes,
Then-
negative 5 and negative 4, right? Minus 5 times minus 4 is positive 20. Minus 5
Yep.
plus minus 4 is minus 9.
Answer is-
So don't make it don't make it 10 and 2 because because 10 and 2 will not give you minus 9x. All right. That's it.
I got the final answer, but now the 2x that is factored out.
All
Do I multiply?
right. So, yeah, we know that there's a 2x at the end there. I'll put the 2x there immediately. You do this one first, okay? So you now have
Okay, yeah.
5x squared minus
Minus
5x minus 4x plus 4.
4.
Common here is 5x, right? You
No, I
now
want to
have
see that.
x minus 1.
Okay,
You take out minus
then-
4.
I'm right. Look at this.
This will be x minus 1. Are you okay? Final answer. X minus
Yes.
1, 5x
Ah,
minus
you just
4.
give the two.
Look at it and ask questions.
Because the 4 is positive.
Yes, I
The
can
sign
solve
should
this
be-
now.
X plus 1.
X minus 5x minus 4x minus 1. I said x plus 1.
Yeah,
So
look,
when
You
you,
said a
like a
when you do the factoring
I-
out, make sure that 2 factors are common. I mean, like the x minus 1 and x minus 1. So if you already have an x minus 1 in one of the groups, make sure that the other one should also have x minus 1, because otherwise you cannot factor by grouping, because you need a common factor.
Is it 5x
So this
minus
is
4?
called
5x
grouping.
plus 4.
Factoring
It's
by grouping.
5x minus 4. He did with that.
The
With the
traditional conventional method.
5x minus 4x minus 1.
We do it like the way.
You did it the boring way.
If you want to do mental math, that is okay.
Who's dash.
But I got it, and then you said factors. I said the answer. Then you said Then
Because
she said-
you gave me a trinomial, so I thought it's okay. Also, what was
No.
what did you say first?
yeah. I didn't. I had already just opened 2 brackets, and then I
Okay.
figured out just 5x.
Yeah, there will
I got
be
5x.
2 brackets. So here there are 3 factors. The common
Yeah.
and then the factors of the trinomial. Yes.
Yeah, I had already put 2x outside the bracket.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
All right, good.
But
All right.
I
Let's
have a
proceed. This last one. Then we'll have we will talk about just the remembering our all the factoring in here.
Okay.
There.
24
24x squared plus 11x minus 18.
plus 11
Whoa.
x.
The numbers are big.
Where's my calculator?
Now,
I
24
hate
times
it when
18.
it's small. It's bigger.
24 times 18.
24
Let's do mental
times-
math here.
24 times 18,
40
right?
minus
432.
Okay, yes. Then think of factors of 432. So that when you add them, it will be 11.
I just love this. No. Humble yourself inside of the Lord.
Oh yeah, he needs to go off like a cliff or something. Be humble 5,000 rooms.
Don't worry, when I give a quiz, I will not give this much, this difficult. This one is a big value. All right. So think.
I already forgot mine.
A 4.
What two numbers we add?
18. Ooh. 24 minus 18.
Okay, I'll give you a hint because these are big numbers already. Okay, so you think of factors of 24 such that one of them may, okay, factors of 24 and factors of 18, because sometimes it's so difficult to keep dividing. Yeah, so I can have factors of 24 as 3 and 8. I can have factors of 18 as 2 and 9. So 3 times 8 times 2 times 9. If I have 3 times 9 is 27, correct? 8 times 2 is 16. Is 27 times 16 432? Of course. Or multiply just to make sure.
Yes, right.
It is. If I
Yeah.
subtract 27 minus 16, what will it be?
27 minus 16 will be 11.
Okay. Yeah. So that's one way of doing it
Okay.
because just to think of the factors of 432, keep dividing whatever. So what you do is anyway, 432 is the product of 24 and 18. And then you just try to pair. Which of these can give you two factors such that when you get the sum, it will be 11. So in other words, you now have 27 and negative 16, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, because 27 minus 16 is 11. All right, now with that, you can proceed.
That's right. 4 plus 7 minus 16.
Answer?
8x plus 9
Okay.
is 3x minus 2.
Yeah. That's right.
Very good. 8x, or some of you might have the other way around. 3x minus 2, 8x
Yeah, that's how.
plus 9. Nice. Oh, I hope you're enjoying your factoring.
Oh, yes.
All right. And I just want to say that you need patience. Okay. To succeed in factoring, you need 3 things: patience, thoroughness, and systematic effort. All right? Be systematic. And of course, that's how it is. Proverbs 19:11, a man's wisdom gives him patience. So yeah, we're getting wiser and wiser in factoring, and it is giving us patience. It is to his glory to overlook an offense. You may make mistakes, but don't worry, just keep trying. So we called it the systematic trial and error method, all right? And of course, as Ellen G. White says, you learn from your mistakes. And she says, we all have many difficulties to meet, many perplexing problems to solve, but we have an all-powerful helper who will listen to our requests as willingly and gladly as he listened to the requests of those who, when he was on this earth in person, came to him for help. So question, do you make mistakes? Do not let this discourage you. The Lord
So
may
much.
permit you to make small mistakes in order to save you from making larger mistakes. All right. So experiences in math will actually help you, all right, in learning from your mistakes so that in your real life, you will avoid making big mistakes. Okay. Now, we will, just want to introduce this for the next 10 or so, 10 minutes, our rational expressions. And you will find out that in the rational expressions, we will be using a lot of factoring. So the rational expression is the quotient of two polynomial expressions. And if you want to simplify, we need to use factoring so that we can cancel the common factors from the numerator and denominator. So to simplify rational expressions, just do factoring. All right. So I am just showing this as an example. So if you have x squared minus 9, you know that this is difference of two squares. Okay.
Yep.
So you now have x plus 3 times x minus 3. Then the denominator is a trinomial with a leading coefficient 1. And you've learned how to do factoring on that. And so we know that it will now be x plus 3 times x minus 1 using your mental math, all right? Because the factors of 3 are 3 and 1, and the sum of 3 and 1 is 4. And then you can just cancel what needs to be canceled. All right, cancel the common factors. Then the simplest, all right, the final answer will be x minus 3 over x plus 1. So that's what it is for rational expressions. Just use our factoring, the understanding of factoring to simplify rational expressions. Okay. We continue exercising our factoring. Do it. Letter A. I don't need to explain. You can solve, everyone. Okay, x squared minus 4 divided by 2x squared plus 5x plus 2. Factor the numerator, factor the denominator, cancel common factors.
So, so the second one, we factor by grouping, right?
Yes, or you can do mental math if you want.
Mm. Oh.
Actually, for the 2x squared plus 5x plus 2, it's easy to do that by just mental math. Maybe I can just give you, I can just show you how it is done. But you can do factoring by grouping, no problem.
Two plus 1 x plus
Okay. So of course, all of
2x.
you know that the numerator will have x plus 2, right? X minus 2 because it is difference of squares. So for the denominator, you can do the mental math as saying, well, this is 2x squared. So the factors will be 2x and x. Then you ask
Minus 2 over
yourself,
2x.
what are the factors of 2? The only factors of 2
Mhm.
would be 2 and 1, right?
Mm.
So, and both of them are plus. So this is plus. Then just position it such that when you multiply the outer, inner, you get 5x. So you put 2
Yeah.
here, you put 1 there. That's mental math.
Mhm.
Because 4x plus x is 5x.
5x.
Yes.
The answer is x minus 2, 2x
All
plus
right.
1.
And then you just put that one, the numerator. The numerator is x plus 2 x minus 2.
Yeah, I got it.
You're
Yep.
on C already?
Cancel.
I'm on B.
So your final answer is x minus 2 over 2x plus 1. That's the simple rational expression. Hey, you'll get used to this. And whenever you do it, think that you are playing a game. So you will enjoy.
I think I'm a
Letter B.
60.
Anh lệnh thêm một tá.
X.
Now, what kind of trinomial is the numerator for letter B?
It's 1.
Yeah, and then you look at it. Oh, the first term is perfect square. The
Nothing.
last term is perfect square. So whenever you see that, you immediately think, is this a perfect square trinomial?
Oh, it is.
Yes, yes. Because
It is. I
8x
just
is twice the product of 4 and x. Okay, yeah. And then I think for the denominator, you can do mental math.
X plus 4 over x plus 7.
Okay, good. All right. So you said the numerator is a perfect square trinomial. So it will now be x plus 4 squared, right?
Yes.
And then the numerator, you say x. That one is easy because that one is just leading trinomial, leading coefficient is 1. And then you know that 7 and 4 are the factors of 28, and 7 plus 4 is 11. Easy. So one of the x plus 4 will be canceling, and therefore you'll now have x plus 4 over x plus 7. Yes. Okay, that last expression. A sum of 2 cubes.
Number C, I got
Yes, what's your
X.
answer?
X plus 1 over x.
Very good.
How many loops?
Remember this x cube. That's the, what did you say? Difference of
Okay. Yeah, so I think you are
difference of
able to
cube.
factor out the x cubed plus 1, right? It will now be x plus 1, x squared
Yeah.
minus x plus 1. So remember
Yeah.
the process. The new denominator, there's a common factor x.
Yeah.
What remains is x squared minus x plus 1. Then you have the common factor x squared minus x plus 1 cancel. X plus 1 over x. Good. All right. Okay. So yeah, so we'll just do more of practice of factoring. I will be giving, yeah, I'm sorry that I posted the assignment on addition, subtraction, and multiplication of polynomials a little late, but I am giving the due date a little later. All right, so I said not tonight, but tomorrow evening. And then I'll post the assignment, yeah, because you really need to practice the assignment on factoring and including simplifying rational expressions. And this one I will give you Friday maybe for the due date, because you will be writing your third reflective journal. Yeah. It's just good for me to, I mean, reading your reflective journal gives me very good insight on what's happening in your mind. So just write whatever you have learned, things that give you difficulty and all those kinds of things. So it will help me also in the way I teach. Right? And so the reflective journal will also be due. I'll put everything on Friday noon, including this assignment on simplifying rational expressions and factoring. All right, so in case any other, if ever you encounter anything, you need some more explanations, don't hesitate to send me a message, and yeah, we can organize how to talk to you on whatever platform. So I can explain, all right, whatever it is. So I think that will be all for today. You enjoy your lunch and your afternoon. So let me